My name is Heather, and today I'll be going over my process when creating SurfLook, which is a new app for surf forecasts, weather reports, and general information of interest to the surfing community. What makes SurfLook different is that the app tailors the experience to each user, so it doesn't just give the surf forecast, it also lets the user know if the conditions match their personal preferences and skill level. Let's get started. My role on this app was a UX researcher, UX designer, and UI designer. I took on a product designer role during this project and owned all aspects of research and development, from ideation to complete clickable high-fidelity prototypes. With SurfLook, I started off with the problem, which is that surfers need to find a reliable way to check the latest and upcoming surf reports for their location or planned travel destinations because they want to make safe, informed, confident decisions about when to paddle out and catch the perfect waves. The problem is, a lot of surf reports are dense with technical information, and they read like a science textbook. Novices and more casual surfers need a way to check the surf report that is simple and easy to read so that they can make informed decisions. My goal for this project was to create a beautifully displayed and easy to understand wind, wave, and weather report, forecast, and statistics for surfers. I used a lot of different techniques and tools during the creation of this project and really covered the scope of the product design spectrum. Let's go over some more specifics, such as business requirements. The first stage of this product was to understand the business requirements. And in this stage, I did a competitive analysis on some of the main competition in the surf report space and analyzed their business strategy and market advantages. I then conducted a SWOT analysis in order to determine each company's strengths and weaknesses. And next was a UX analysis on my competitors. All of this helped me to really understand what else is happening in this space so I could formulate my own hypothesis on how I might structure the SurfLook app. Next, I went about understanding the user, and here are some of the images from that. So for this part of the project, it focused on understanding and evaluating who the user is. In this part of the project, I also conducted extensive user interviews and surveys of surfers at all skill levels and conducted a user research analysis to explore the data from my findings, sort and map the data, and identify key user insights. This included an affinity mapping exercise, which helped me to better understand the users and what they want out of a surf report. After gathering data, I created user personas which matched the target demographics for the SurfLook app and identified each persona's needs, goals, motivations, frustrations, and activities. I analyzed their device usage and crafted a hypothesis statement for each persona. I then created user journey maps, which took each persona through a scenario where they might want to use the SurfLook app, and I analyzed their goals and expectations as they navigated through the app. This led to the creation of user flows and task flows, which helped me to craft my mobile-first design plan, which leads me down here to foundational design. At this stage, in order to successfully illustrate the technical articulation for SurfLook's information architecture, I went through a series of exercises aimed at refining the design. I started with the creation of a sitemap, which I then validated through a card sorting exercise with 11 participants using Optimal Workshop, which led to some refinements of the sitemap. After that step, I started sketching out the app with low-fidelity hand-drawn wireframes and then set up design patterns for both the mobile and desktop versions of the app. I continued with refined versions of those initial wireframes created in Balsamiq and prototypes in both the mobile and desktop versions of some key features of the app, such as the surf spot search, homepage, and the main surf spot pages. This helped me to plan out the layout and user flow of each of these features. After doing some testing and refinement of those wireframes and flows, I moved on to setting up the wireframes to be more high fidelity in Figma, which helped me to really visualize what the app might look like. Then it was on to usability testing. And at this step in the process, I put SurfLook's designs to the test. I conducted usability testing from start to finish, working with test subjects, analyzing test results, making improvements on the designs based on those results, and then planning future tests. Here is an example of that. And at this step, I first came up with a usability test plan, outlined the goals, test objectives, methodology, and schedule of testing, as well as the metrics by which the test could be evaluated using Jacob-Nielsen's scale. Next, I set up the test script and conducted the tests with 6 participants via remote video conferencing calls. After the tests were completed, I analyzed the results using a rainbow spreadsheet and gained insights on improvements to make the app based on those findings. Here's an example of one of my A/B tests. In addition to usability testing, I conducted some preference tests on several screens of the app in order to gain insights on which designs to use. I tested 3 different screens through a combination of Usability Hub participants, as well as by conducting an informal poll on social media. Both of these tests gave me valuable insights on additional refinements to make using the app's design. Next, it was on to refining the design. So after the usability test and preference test results came in, I set to work making refinements to the app design. And at this stage of the process, I created a grid system for the design on both the mobile and desktop versions in order to make sure everything aligned well. And I decided which responsive framework to go with. In this case, I determined Bootstrap would be best because it's easier to build and reuse components when setting up the project. This lends itself nicely to setting up a design system for SurfLook, which will allow product designers and developers to work together to continue to refine and develop the app over time. So at this stage, it encompassed design documentation, pattern libraries, creating design language system for SurfLook, and preparing everything for dev handoff, pixel perfect. Here are some of those examples. And here are some really nice visual designs for the mobile app. You can see that we started off with sketches and we ended up with this really nice high fidelity UI. And then at the very end, here is a clickable prototype that I set up for SurfLook. So you can actually click through and kind of see the app in action. And then just a few reflections for the end of this presentation. Over the course of this project, I spent a lot of time talking with surfers and talking about what they might want out of a surf report app, and this led me to think of the kinds of things I might want to include in the initial setup of the app, as well as future further developments to the kinds of features the app might include going forward. I now have a much better understanding of what might draw users to SurfLook. And at this point in the project, although it's still too early to tell what the usage statistics on the app might be, I'm armed with the knowledge and experience in what kinds of useful features people would want to see in SurfLook, which will inform future decision-making processes when moving forward with the building out of additional features. Next steps for SurfLook will be to get the initial phase of the app coded and conduct extensive usability tests of the app using a variety of users from different backgrounds, and then to break down those findings of the usability tests in a rainbow spreadsheet with Jacob-Nielsen's scale to help determine actionable items of improvement on the app and rank them according to importance level. After that, edits to the app will be made in accordance with the findings of the test sessions. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.